Damn it, G-dubs.
Welcome back, one and all, to another video with the Tabletop Tactics crew. It's Mr. Beard here, residing in my own physical body, and next to me is Mr. Chef.
Yes.
AKA the birthday boy. It's your birthday today.
Yeah, at time of filming, not at time of release, so I'm already a week older-ish.
Happy birthday.
Yay, this is the best birthday present ever.
Terrible birthday present. We're here to talk about chapter approved Warzone Nachmund Grand Tournament and the Militarum Field Manual.
Yes, part 1 of 2 for the year, I think, is the way that we're going with this.
Yes, for better or for worse, we're going to review these books.
Pamphlets.
Suffice to say, we're not super...
Not stoked.
We're not super buzzing about these books, so we thought that we would share our thoughts collaboratively with you wonderful people today. Before we get stuck in though, as always, thank you so much for being here today. If you like what you see, please give us a like, put a join the chat in the comments below and share your thoughts on these books. And also, if you do want to see some more videos, hit subscribe and then you can't miss any at all, because there's all sorts of cool content coming out this year. And this is the time to start. And if you want even more content, if you want the real juicy bits, head over to tabletoptactics.tv and then you can get all of our stuff. Subscribe there for all of the content that we create in its entirety.
Yes, it helps us out massively. We can't do it without you.
Exactly.
So, with this, basically what we're going to do is we're going to break it down. We're going to start talking about some of the changes to the missions, changes to the secondaries, the missions themselves, then we'll talk about the points. And there will be timestamps down below, and you'll probably see in the timestamps a chef rant. So you've got that to look forward to or to dread, your choice. But why don't we kick off with the missions changes themselves?
Let's.
So we're going to talk about the basic changes to the mission. There's a couple in here, most of which I do actually really like. Like, I will preface this now. I think the changes to the missions are generally actually quite good. It's the latter part of the books and what they represent that is a bit more of a problem, but we'll save that for the rant. But the missions themselves, I think, have had some nice tweaks. First and foremost amongst them is that your sub-faction keyword is now locked to 1. So what that means is, let's say you're running a Sisters army. You can't have Bloody Rose and Ebon Chalice, for example. You must have one or t'other, and that's across your entire army. That's not within your own detachment, because those were already the rules. It basically means, yeah, you can't mix sub-factions. Yeah. This will affect things like Sisters, Grey Knights, because now you can't have more than one Grand Master, because they will have to specifically be from the same, you can only have one per Brotherhood. So you can't have, I think it's Sword Bearers and Rapiers is the common one. There are a few exceptions. Marks of Chaos, you're still free to mix and match. Demonic Allegiances, you're still free to mix and match, because otherwise...
Thank goodness.
Yeah, the army's just...
precious Chaos
They're
marks.
already struggling. And things like Free Blades and Dread Blades can still be sort of slotted in, sort of in the same detachments. So that is a nice... It's nice and simple. It's looking at ways to reduce in-faction souping. It doesn't stop you souping externally, so you can still run a Chaos, Marine, and Demons list if you were so inclined. But what it means you can't do is to take the Drukhari, for example, because each Cabal, you can't now have Obsidian Rose in one detachment and Black Heart in another. You can still have Cult of Strife and Black Heart and Covens of the Flesh or Dark Prophets or whatever it's called, but you can't have 2 different Cabals or 2 different cults or 2 different covens. Sure. It's a good change. It's nice and simple. It will keep armies a bit more on theme, as well as reducing the need to balance across sub-factions. You kind of go, it's one or the other. You don't now need to worry about oh, well, what if I encounter this army that does, because there was no downside. That was the issue. There was no downside to sort of souping within your sub-factions. To use the Sisters, for example, all your melee units would be Bloody Rose and all your shooting units would be Argent Shroud.
Exactly.
There was no downside.
Yeah, and I think this is a really positive change because it just forces people to be better players.
Yes. Yeah.
You're not plugging the gap. It's like that meme, that guy that's got that big leaking tank. You
slap some tape on it. Bam!
Yeah, it's going to make people better players, and I think to your point about keeping armies themed, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I like it. There's nothing, and this is just on a personal note. Again, if you're talking from like a pure competitive standpoint, you want to have the absolute best of everything, fine, but I have generally found, for me personally, that the better generals are the ones that can adapt to any situation rather than just go, I'll take the best thing and spam it 3 times.
Yeah.
So this will help mitigate some of that. It doesn't remove, like rule of 3 is still a thing. I would have loved to have seen rule of 2. I also would have loved to have seen things like no supplements unless you're a Marine player, because otherwise your army doesn't operate. Yep. No armies of renown. They should be narrative only. And then that way, everyone that's sort of turning around and going, oh, we've got 1 million supplements. There's still less supplements than there were in 7th and 8th edition for the time being.
By what?
By a
3 times?
Big margin, yeah. So it would then reduce that complexity of going, oh, well, now from a player perspective, I don't need to carry around 5 different books, which was your choice. But from an opponent's perspective, you don't need to go, I need to learn this codex and then these 2 supplements to know what your army might be capable of doing.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see those removed. Alas, they're not, but this is a good step in the right direction. Cool. The next change is to your secondaries. You can only have 1 secondary from your non-Munitorum manual, your non-chapter approved pack.
Yeah.
So what this means is you can't stack Stubborn Defiance and Oaths of Moment.
Yes.
Is basically what that's for.
It will mainly affect Space Marine players,
Yeah.
I think. And it's easily slip-upable. There's been plenty of games where we've sort of picked, well, let's say I've picked secondaries where I shouldn't do. It just reduces the potential issue of making mistakes. And also, if you're running Dark Angels, you're not going to take Space Marines plus a Dark Angels 1 and then be left with 1 from chapter approved.
Yeah. So you got to take 2 from chapter approved, basically. That's also nice because it future-proofs it if they go, oh, here's a codex supplement for this army, and we've decided to put secondaries in. Again, I don't want to see that, but in case they do, it's future-proof that you can't go, oh, now all of a sudden I can take, with Drukhari, Herd the Prey, and also another secondary which I get points for killing things, which Drukhari are already really good at. So it's future-proofed a bit. It's a nice little change. It's not exactly like massively game-changing, but it will change up how certain armies need to interact. The next one is for fortification.
Yes.
It just makes it a bit easier to take your faction fortifications if you were taking them. Basically, they can't be 3 inches of any other terrain piece, but if you can't deploy them, you can remove an obstacle or an area terrain piece in your deployment zone so that you can put them in. Cool. If you still can't do that, your fortification's dead. Yeah. This might come up. Like it's nice to have. I think Sisters players will be quite happy with that because the Battle Sanctum is huge. Yeah. Because it's basically you're paying 85 points, whatever it is, to bring your own piece of obscuring terrain, which in some maps can be really significant.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a good change if you are running fortifications. If you're not, something to look out for that an opponent you might see a few more fortifications from time to time. I'm not sure, but you've got the option to actually use the model that you wanted to bring now, which is good.
Yeah, it's a niche little thing. I don't think, certainly in the competitive scene, I don't think there's a lot of people using many buildings.
I think the Battle Sanctum was getting a bit of a run-up, but only in player-placed terrain setups. Sure. So not in like GW official tournaments or certain ITC events, but player-placed terrain, I think they were getting a bit more of a look in because you could make the gap for your terrain piece. Yeah. Now you don't need to worry about it. Yeah, and you've got the option.
People that want to use buildings and fortifications, now it's easier. Yeah, so that's nice.
The final change, and pretty much everything else is the same in terms of the overall mission structure. There's no change to first turn or attack a defender or who deploys first or alternating deployment or when you declare stuff. But this is a really, really good change for me personally because I am a big advocate of playing out the game when you can, which is ironic because oftentimes there will be games here within the studio where we go, at the end of turn 3, someone concedes. Yeah. Or we know how the game is going to go, and so we talk it out. However, that's very different from a filming and playing perspective. Half the reason why we do that is because we're already running late. We would like to go home, but it often boils down to, I get why people talk out games. I get why there are times where you go, we can't physically finish the game. We know who's going to win. Great. The change that this chapter approved does is it now caps your points if that's the case. So this will only apply if you're realistically at like playing in a league event or like a ladder tournament or, you know, like a sort of a local gaming store table or at an event. If both players agree that they cannot finish the game to its completion of 5 turns, you work out the points that you are on there and then.
Yeah.
That is it. There is no talking it out. There is no, this is enshrined in the rules. Now, if your tournament decides we're not going to do that, fine. But this is something to be very aware of, especially at Games Workshop events, because I imagine that they're going to use this. One would hope so, otherwise it's just a pointless rule to include, which is basically, let's say me and Beard are playing a game, we get to turn 3, we time out, and we go, right, well, we've run out of time. We're not able to complete the game to turn 5. Cool. Well, I'm on 50 points, Beard's on 55, Beard wins. Yeah. Doesn't matter if he had 2 models left alive and I was going to score 15 primary in the next turn and 15 primary in the next turn. We didn't finish the game. Yeah. Tough.
Which is brilliant. I mean, if people are winning tournaments because of theoretical points that they won, that's not a way to win a tournament in my opinion.
Yeah, like it's okay if you're doing like a practice game or one-off games. Again, like I say, we do it all the time because sometimes playing out a game where there isn't like a concrete or like a physical, tangible end to it. You know, we're not playing in a tournament. If we were playing for league, like a league points, where your victory points counted towards how far up you went to the league, then we would play on till the bitter end. Yeah. That's how I would like to see games go anyway, but fine. There is another little change as well, which is to do with concessions. Oh. So this is something that I'm not sure how I feel about this one, because I like the idea of you don't talk the game out. But if one player wants to end the battle early, that player must concede and remove their models from the battlefield. So this is only if one player wants to end early. The player who concedes scores 0 victory points for the battle. The opponent is the victor, and they can, if they wish, calculate their final victory points total, taking into account any objectives achieved so far. So again, if your opponent concedes, you don't go, well, I would have scored 100. You are capped at 60. If your score currently would be less than 60, you get 60. And then it's boosted to 70 because of painting. Fine. Sure. Again, I don't know why that rule exists in competitive play. It should just not, but whatever. That I'm not so sure about because there could be some occasional moments, and this will be down to individual players and TOs to sort of control. Let's say you're playing a game and you've won your first 3 games. You're on day 2 of a tournament and you just get absolutely hammered turn 1 in the 4th round, and you go, oh man, like there was, you know, and now you know that you're not going to win this game. Yeah. And you're feeling really spiteful about it, really vindictive. Like this is the thing, you've got to be a really kind of certain person to do this. And you go at the end, you're at the top of your turn 2, your opponent has like 40 victory points. You go, I concede. They can get 60. They would trounce on you. They would have gotten 100. You've now potentially taken them out of the running of a podium place.
That is true.
I don't like that. I don't like that aspect of it. I love the idea of if you can't finish a game, you don't deserve to get the full points. But I don't like the idea that someone, if they're feeling vindictive, could deny you victory points just because they go, I concede. Yeah. I'm not sure how to reconcile that. I think that is a rule that I would, if I was a TO, go, if you concede, your opponent does get the full. Because then that encourages you to carry on playing to the bitter end.
Which is what we would suggest doing here, I think.
So I'm not sure about that second part. The first part I love. And those are basically the mission changes. That's it. There's more changes in the secondaries in the missions, which we'll be touching on in a minute. But in terms of overall mission structure, not a huge amount has changed, but there's a few nice little tweaks here and there.
It's little baby steps in the right direction, I think. Yeah. Nachmund secondary objectives. A lot of them are the same, essentially. Yeah. So what is quite nice is that we do have some faction-specific secondaries in here, which add some flavour to factions without their shiny new codexes.
Yeah, it's a nice little stopgap. I'm glad that it's included. Yeah. Some of them are great. Some of them you just won't bother with. But that's no different to the normal secondaries anyway.
Yes.
So, yes, whatever.
Well, we'll run through them quite quickly. So Purge the enemy is very similar. So assassination is the same.
Yep. no changes there.
Still assassination. You've got For the Emperor, which is an Astra Militarum specific one, which basically is you get a point for each enemy unit you destroy with your Astra Militarum units, up to 3 per turn.
Yeah.
Shoot stuff with your guard, which is what most guard players like to do.
And bash their skulls in with your bullgrins.
Exactly.
Yeah. So look, it's nice to have. Fine. Like it's actually it's one of the better ones because
it's easy enough to do.
It's easy enough to do. You might not max it, but you'll probably get a good like 8 to 9 points on it because it's at the end of the battle round, not just your turn. So if you kill something in it, in Overwatch or in combat, you've got options to score it sort of throughout the turn. So yeah, it's nice. Next one's Bring It Down.
Yes.
This has changed.
Yes.
Ever so slightly.
Ever so slightly.
You now get 2 victory points if they have 10 wounds or more rather than 1 victory point. Because previously it was if they've got 10 or less, it was 1. Now it's if they've got 10 or more. So your buggies, your rhinos are worth 2 victory points. Your raiders are worth 2 victory points. Mm-hmm. Will this make a big difference? It might do against some armies that sort of are really spamming the transports, maybe. But I think if anything, it's going to actually hurt a few more armies than it will help the game as a whole.
I think so. Taking a rhino and it being
2 victory points.
2 victory points when it's destroyed. That's
it depends on your army build. Like if you were running stuff that had like 11 or more wounds already, it's not going to affect you. But if you were going, here's my fast response marine army, because I'm old school and I've got tactical marines, I've got like 4 rhinos. Yeah. And like a couple of dreads, and now you go, actually, you're giving up a lot more victory points. Yeah. Not sure how I feel about that one. Need to sort of run it through and play it through a little bit more.
Yeah. Titan Hunter is the same.
It's basically
Titan Hunter is the same. You hunt Titans in the same way that you did previously. Yeah. No Mercy, no Respite. We've then got no Prisoners, which is the same again?
It's the same in terms of scoring, but you get bonus points depending on how high your tally is.
Sure.
So basically, you score it as normal. You get 1 point on a tally for each wound that each model that is slain to their wounds characteristics. Blah 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 blah. But you basically get an additional victory point if you have more than 50 on your tally, and you get an additional 2 if you have more than 100. So you can basically get 2 extra victory points on this for killing 100 wounds worth of non-vehicle monster or character models. Again, it's a nice change. It will help against some armies because there were times where you go, oh, no prisoners. I could get 10 points on that, but that's if I table you. You now get 12 for that. Yeah. So it's a bit more of an incentive for it against some armies. It's a nice little boost. Again, against some armies, it's not useful. Against some armies, it might be too much. Kind of need to see the lay of the land as we go with it. Yeah. Grind them down is the same.
3 points if you kill more stuff than you lose.
Yeah, to the last is the same.
Yeah.
No changes there.
And then we've got 4 new faction ones. So you've got Path of Destruction for Chaos Knights, which essentially... Shall I rattle through these quickly?
Yeah, read them through quickly, yeah.
So 1 or more enemy units were destroyed by a Chaos Knight model from your army while that Chaos Knight model was wholly within your deployment zone. You get a victory point. This is up to 3. 1 or more enemy units were destroyed by a Chaos Knights model from your army whilst that model was was more than 3 inches away from either player's deployment zone, so no man's land. And then a point if they're wholly within your opponent's deployment zone. So...
I mean, it's all right.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, Knights struggle with their secondaries anyway, and with the changes to the primary missions, there's no more mission secondaries.
Yeah.
It's nice to have this. The problem is in the same category as Grind Them Down, which as a Knights player, you're probably taking anyway.
Yeah.
So, against some armies, you might want to take it. Against others, as a general rule, you're probably not taking it.
Yeah.
Next one is Synaptic Insight for the Tyranids.
So this one is quite interesting. So you have a kill tally, which is reset every turn. Is it turn or battle
round? I think
it's certainly each battle round.
Yeah.
So each time an enemy unit is destroyed by a synapse model from your army, if it had a wounds characteristic between 3 or 5, you add 1 to your synaptic kill tally. If it had a wounds characteristic between 6 and 9, you add 2, and if it had a wounds characteristic of 10 or more, you add 3. So you score 3 victory points at the end of the battle round if your synaptic kill tally was 4 or more. You cannot score more than 12 victory points from this objective.
Is an interesting one. It will depend on your army build, of course. You're not going to take that if you've only got 2 synapse creatures or one of them's a neurophrope and one of them's a malanthrope type thing. I like it flavor-wise.
Flavoursome.
I think it's one of those ones where you go, against some armies, it's just worthless. Against some armies, it's it's almost it feels like a bit of a trap option, because you're going to look at that and go, oh yeah, if I kill a rhino with a hive tyrant, I get 3 on my tally. Yeah, I know, but then he's killing a rhino.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And you still haven't got 3 victory points yet. You still need to kill something else with a synapse creature. It's a bit of a tricky one. Not sure how I feel about it. Flavor-wise, I think it's good. The cap of 12 is a bit weird.
Yeah.
You know, problem is it's Tyranids. Their killy stuff isn't synapse.
Yeah.
So you're going to be in these weird situations where you want to wound something with your Hive Guard so you can finish it off with a Hive Tyrant. It's a bit odd. Yeah.
For some Tyranids players, that's a nice thing.
Yeah.
But for others, maybe not. Chaos Space Marines, everyone. Hold on to your butts. New Chaos Space Marine stuff.
Your secondary is you don't score any victory points, but you get +1 wound.
Don't upset all the Chaos Space Marine.
It's not difficult. I'm already upset.
Poor Chaos Space Marine players. One day,
your time will come.
We will be rewarded. But today is not that time. So the Long War, this is for Chaos Space Marines. At the end of your turn, you score 1 victory point for each enemy that was within range of an objective mark at the start of that turn that was destroyed by a Heretic Astartes unit from your army during that turn. At the end of your turn, you score 2 victory points if you control 1 or more objective markers that were controlled by your opponent at the start of that turn, and a Heretic Astartes unit from your army is within range of 1 or more of those objective markers. You cannot score more than 3 victory points from this secondary objective per turn.
I mean, it's not terrible.
It's not terrible, it's not easy.
Yeah, I mean,
if your troops have got 1 wound,
yeah,
which they do.
Yeah, you've got to be killing or taking stuff from objectives.
Yeah. You have to. Yeah. This is a very, very specific thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice that they've got the option, because I think No Mercy, No Respite is a tricky one for Chaos Space Marines, because it's like, are you going to take to the last with Chaos Space Marines? Probably not.
No.
Are you going to grind them down?
No.
Probably not.
All of my stuff's dead.
Yes.
Before I started. You're already dead.
You actually have -1 wound.
Yes. Please.
Like it's a nice option to have.
Yeah.
It's not for something like World Eaters who are wanting to go onto those objectives and will blend what's on it. It's actually pretty good to have.
For some factions, it's great. For others, not so much. If you're a gunline army, it's not great.
I mean, no, because you still get a point for killing a unit that's holding an objective.
It's true.
But you still got to kill them.
Still got to kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not like.
I'm just feeling very salty about the whole thing.
I understand.
I want my new codex.
I understand.
Can we move on?
Okay, we'll move on.
Malefic Terror.
Demons!
Chaos Demons. Each time an enemy model flees the battlefield, you score 1 victory point.
Fine.
Enemy model flees.
Yeah.
It's easy enough.
Well, I mean, is it?
Yeah.
But with demons,
Maybe.
with their complete lack of shooting, and their... Okay.
Second bullet point, each time an enemy unit is destroyed by an attack made by Chaos Demons unit from your army, before removing that last model from the battlefield, roll 2d6. If the result equals or exceeds the current leadership characteristic of that enemy model, score 1 victory point. And this is up to 4 victory points per turn.
I mean... It's all right.
That's fine.
It's interesting that it's per turn rather than per battle round.
Yes.
You could, in theory, score 8 victory points on that because you score 4 in your turn, 4 in the enemy's turn. I don't know. Again, against some armies, you might take it and go, yeah, I killed a unit and I'm basically going to get a victory point. You like against Custodes with their leadership 11, you'd be like, no.
Oh no.
Like, not today.
Yeah.
Interesting one. Don't know if it's really worth it.
Warpcraft next, everyone's favourite.
Pour the Witch is the same. Warp Ritual is the same. Pierce the Veil is the same, and may as well just be removed from the game because no one uses it. Psychic Interrogation is the same. Although it doesn't need to be visible anymore. So they've gone from 18 inches not visible, then they did 24 inches visible, and now it's just within 24 inches.
Yeah. The problem with Warp Ritual and Psychic Integration is that you have to do it with the character. And I think it so heavily limits your psychic armies. Grey Knights and Thousand Suns.
They've already got better Warpcraft options.
Exactly.
But for things like Eldar or Harlequins or even like Guard, having the ability to do something with like that, because they're Weird Vein Psychers or a unit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you might see Weird Vein Psychers being used in like a little, you know, just to drop in and go, yeah, we'll do like a little Warp Ritual and get some points. I mean, it's fine, because most Psychers are characters, but it's like, you could do that and get 3 victory points, or you could doom something and guide something. Like, Yeah, it's the same issue that Warpcraft always has. They're kind of there.
They're just a bit too limiting for me.
Shadow Operations. Raise the banners high. It's exactly the same. Still one of my favorites because it's cool. Investigate Signal is the same, I believe. One infantry unit from your army that contains 3 or more models can do this. I think that is slightly different. It now needs to be 3 or more models, so you can't do it with characters anymore. Retrieve Nachmund data.
We've retrieved all of the Octarius data. We've got all of it.
Literally, I mean, with the amount of times that it was used in like every game, anywhere in the world,
there was a lot of data to be retrieved.
I mean, it was a big sector. But now we've got to retrieve the Nachmund data. We've got to do R&D. We've got to research and development it.
We need more data.
Yeah, always data.
Imperial spreadsheets.
Give me the data.
Or Tyranid spreadsheets.
Yeah, so this has changed pretty significantly. The first of which is bikers can do it now, which is nice. Your characters can do it now, which is handy, but you now need to roll equal to or under the number of models in the unit when you complete the action. If you're troops, you subtract 1 from the dice roll. Otherwise, you don't get the victory points.
Yeah.
So you can do it with that lone character, but if you roll anything but a 1, you fail.
Yeah.
You can do it with that lone unit of 3 bikes now. But if you roll a 1, 2, or 3, you're okay. But if you roll a 4 or more, no victory points for you. So it's a gamble. It is a gamble.
Which is nice because now it's not an auto take.
Yes.
There's a little bit more risk involved, which means that you can probably consider some other secondaries instead, which is nice. Rather than always taking retrieve, now it's more of a
Yeah, I think you'll still see it very popular, but it will require slight tweaks to armies. So like a very popular thing with Drukhari armies was to, for a time at least, was to use things like Courts of the Archon or just lone Urgles, which you can't do anymore because they don't exist as points. You know, to do like 2-man squads, like Necron Crypto Thrall's doing it. You know, dropping in a unit of 5 Batmen in the AdMech. Now you've got to use units of 6 to guarantee it. Otherwise, you just go, oh, there's a 1 in. It's only a 1 in 6. But what if you do that, and that's the difference between winning and losing the game? Like, you don't want to take that gamble if you're playing at like high-end competitive play. So you will have to tweak your list ever so slightly, and it puts a bit more of responsibility on troops. Like even units of Blade Guard or Terminators were doing it. So go, oh, we're a 5-man unit. Well,
not doing anything else this turn.
Yeah, sure, why not, right? Well, there's a chance that you fail. It's a small chance, but is it a chance you want to take?
Still a chance.
Deploy teleport homers. This has changed quite a bit. So now an infantry or biker unit from your army can start to perform the action at the end of your movement phase if they are wholly within 12 inches of your opponent's deployment zone. If they are troops, it is completed at the end of your turn, which is great.
Good.
If they're anything else, it's completed at the start of your next command, or the end of your next command phase, rather. You must still be wholly within 12 inches of your opponent's deployment zone, which will be very unlikely to happen, but it's there, I guess. Each time you do it, you get 2 victory points or 4 victory points if you are wholly within your opponent's deployment zone. I like this. It's very different. Things like Genestealer Cults are going to love this one.
Yeah.
They'll drop in a cheap 45-man unit of Acolyte hybrids like in the corner and just go, 4 victory points, please. Thanks for playing.
And again, it's quite thematic for them as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure they love deploying teleport homers.
Yeah. For other armies, you know, like the fact that bikers can do this is really good because you can sort of yeet them up and then do the objective and go, try and move me. You know, imagine that with, because, you know, a unit of Virtus Praetors. You use the Qatar, which allows you to advance and do an action.
Qatar!
They go 20 inches on the edge of your opponent's deployment zone and go, well, you've got to move me. Oh, by the way, I'm a Custodes. Good luck. You know, so there's some real nice options there. And like even your characters and your infantry can do it, which is useful to sort of, you know, if they've got nothing else to do that turn, or, you know, you've got like a Psyker and they go, well, none of the powers are useful this turn. You can have them doing it whilst they're protected. You've got some good utility. I like that change. I think it's a nice change. You're going to see that one a bit more. Finally, Battlefield Supremacy. Behind enemy lines, exactly the same. Stranglehold, exactly the same. Engage in all fronts is a bit different. You now need to have more than 3 models in the unit, or you need to be a vehicle or a monster. So again, no more just running that lone character over the line to go, oh, I'll get 2 points for engage if he runs over there. It's like, no, you've got to have actual units or vehicles or monsters doing it.
But you've not really engaged a front with one thing, have you?
It's a bit tricky to encircle the foe. It's a good change. I like it. Again,
so too.
might cause people to think a bit more about their army builds and how they play the game. And then there's a new one for the Knights, Imperial Knights this time, yield no ground. At the end of your turn, to a maximum of 5 each turn, and you can't score it in the first battle round, you score 2 victory points if you control half or more of the objective markers on the battlefield with your Knight models. You score 2 victory points if there are no enemy units wholly within your deployment zone, and you score 1 victory point so long as no Imperial Knight models ended the turn closer to your battlefield edge than they started the battle round, and no Imperial Knights units fell back. Okay, the first two are really nice, because if someone wants to go towards an Imperial Knight deployment zone, fine.
Yeah.
There's Knights there.
Yes.
Could be a bad time.
Scary times.
Holding half or more of the total objectives is also a good one, because it's not like Stranglehold. There's no caveat that you need to hold more than the opponent.
Yeah.
So if you're playing on a game with 3 objective markers, you just go, I'll just move on to 3 objective markers.
Yeah.
Great. The last one's is less good.
Yeah, because falling back and doing stuff is kind of a Knight thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's only 1 victory point. So you're only sacrificing the 1 victory point to do that.
That is true.
So it's not too bad. Those are the secondaries. Look, there's some changes. There's some good changes, but there's not enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's certainly not transformed the game or fixed some issues. I mean, there's whole sections of the secondaries that just aren't really looked at.
Yeah.
Really, like Warpcraft, for instance.
Yeah.
When's the last time someone took Warpcraft?
Yeah, well, when's the last time someone took Warpcraft that wasn't Purifying Ritual or Mutate Landscape?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of fine. For some armies, engaging all fronts and Nachmund data, they're still going to be the go-to.
Yeah.
You know, Imperial Knights they've got one of the better ones. So do Astra Militarum. I think Chaos Knights, not so much. Demons, Chaos Marines, Nids, there's no Elder ones. I wonder why.
Maybe there's going to be a new codex release, Chef.
There's no Tau ones. I wonder why.
Maybe there's going to be a new codex release.
I mean, it sounds like it. Maybe.
It's a stopover. It's a stopgap whilst we're waiting for all of these new books. Like, it is nice to have a bit of more options for factions without their new codexes. It's nice to have a bit more flavor, which sort of matches their kind of design. So yeah, it's sort of use this for the time being sort of thing. They didn't have to do it.
Yeah, they didn't have to. So it's like you say, it's a nice stopgap, and the overall secondary changes are fine. The missions themselves are a bit more exciting, so let's have a look at them. Let's talk missions. Incursion missions exist.
Yay!
Moving swiftly on, because okay.
No one plays Incursion missions, Chef.
I don't want to do the rant just yet.
Oh. Restraint being used here.
But basic Incursion missions, like, I think some people play Incursion like tournaments and stuff, but the game isn't balanced at 1,000 points. The game isn't balanced at 2,000 points.
It's less balanced at 1,000 points.
Yeah, because you just spam more of the, I mean, you can only do 2 things, but the oppressive things in 2K become even more oppressive at 1,000 points. So the missions exist, great. Like, if you're playing Incursion, more power to you, I think. But I'm not going to go through the Incursion missions because we don't do Incursion missions. So
we're not best equipped to talk about them, really.
Yeah, so I would be saying, that's cool. I have no idea what the context is of that.
Yeah.
What I do have context of is the Strike Force missions. There's 9 of them, as you'd expect.
9.
2 of which you can already see on the Warcom website, so we're not going to talk about those.
Been previewed already.
Recover the Relics is one of those, so we won't talk about that. The next one is Tear Down Their Icons, which is basically a redo of Scorched Earth.
Yes.
The deployment map has now changed, so it's changed to your diagonal corner one, not quite the thing. You'll probably see them pop up in this video.
2/3 diagonal, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'll probably do that. You'll probably have seen it popped up, and I'm just chatting nonsense right now. So basically with this one, so all of your primary objectives in all the missions, as most of you have now seen probably in the Warcom, they have changed. You can now score 4 victory points, and then 12, and then 8, and then 12 for either hold 1, hold 2, hold more in take and hold, or hold 2, hold 3, hold more in domination missions. You then have another primary objective, which used to be the old mission secondary objective, to get basically further points, which is cool. This is a take and hold, so hold 1, hold 2, hold more. And your mission rules are basically, you set us up the bomb.
Yes.
You deploy an explosive 1 unit from your army. It's an action, prime explosives. 1 unit from your army can start to perform this action at the end of your movement phase if it is wholly within your opponent's territory, so their half of the board, and is more than 9 inches away from any other primed explosives objective markers. If the unit performing it has OBSEC, it completes at the end of your turn, otherwise it completes at the end of your next command phase, so troops or any ability that gives OBSEC is useful here. When it's done, you place a primed explosives objective on the battlefield that is wholly within your opponent's territory and wholly within 3 inches of the unit that completed it. It does not count as an objective marker for anything else other than the detonation primary, which is done at the end of the battle, scoring you 4 victory points for each objective marker that is placed within your opponent's territory to a maximum of 15 points per player. Your opponent has an action to defuse them. 1 unit from your army, I don't know how a tank defuses it. Maybe the guy inside jumps out.
Servo arm.
Yeah, can do it if they're within range of an objective primed explosives objective marker. No enemy units are within range of the same objective marker. If the unit is completed at the end of your turn, you then roll a d6. If you're OBSEC, you get +3 to this. Basically on a 4+, you remove it. So it gives you a little bit of back and forth with your opponent.
Yeah.
I set up an objective and then I defend it so I can score points at the end of the game. Only 1 unit can do it per turn, so it's not like you can go, oh, I've got turn 5, I'll go and put 4 objectives down and then get 15 points. So you've got to sort of put them down and defend. It creates a nice little back and forth because then you want to move them off and then you've got to sacrifice someone to turn it off and then it's not guaranteed. So it's a nice, it's a nice one. I don't think you're going to score many on the detonation.
Maybe not. It's quite a fun,
but it's handy
thematic.
to have and it's cool.
Yeah.
Data Scry-salvage.
I played this.
You've played this one. Yeah, you played this one.
Quite enjoyed it, actually.
That'll be coming soon. So this is basically vital intelligence, but slightly reshuffled.
Yeah.
You now can only do the data set action on the objective in your deployment zone. You can't do it on anything.
Yes.
You only get the bonus victory points for the objectives in no man's land.
Yes.
It's up to a maximum of 3. It's a domination, so it's hold 2, hold 3, hold more. And this is one of those missions where you can walk away from objectives if you control it in your command phase, but only if you're OBSEC.
Yeah,
so you
which is a great change.
Yeah, you can't have a rhino move onto an objective and then next turn go, I've controlled it now, I'll move away. It's like, no, he's got to stay there.
Yeah.
You got a unit of Havocs on something, they've got to stay there.
Yeah.
You got a unit of, Hive Guard on it, they've got to stay there.
Yeah.
You know, they can't move away, not that your Hive Guard would be moving. You get my point. You can't have a Raider move onto it and then go, oh, I've got it now.
And also cool that if you have managed to delete a unit, there's not necessarily still holding that objective. Like there's even more of a reason to be removing enemy units from objectives now, which is cool.
So yeah, that's a good change to that mission. I really like that. Next one is Abandon Sanctuaries.
Abandon the spoiler?
No, we won't talk about him.
Right, I'm gonna do it right now.
Okay, we're gonna do it now, are we?
The artwork on this book is terrible.
Fatbaddon.
Listen!
Where's his sword?
In every single video we've done about new books, I have said, great artwork. The artwork is fantastic. Let's see more of that. I don't know what this is, but it's really weird.
I don't know what happened.
Abaddon looks really weird.
He's really out of proportion.
He's left Drachnian somewhere. He doesn't feature in Nachmund as far as I'm aware.
I don't think so.
He's not a character in here.
Well, I think because Nachmund is like the Vigilus war zone, isn't it?
Yes.
So he's kind of there, but he's not in like any, I mean, I don't know, like, it's just the artwork's really weird. It's out of proportion. He looks like he's just like been eating donuts all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a step down. That is a bit of a nitpick.
It's just a shame.
It's a shame.
It's just a shame.
The next one is
Abaddon
beard rant. There you go. I rant about the rules. You rant about like just fluff and artwork.
Yes, aesthetic gripes.
Yeah, a beard aesthetic gripe, beard gripes and chef rants. There you go. That we should do a new show on that. Abandoned Sanctuaries. It's a Dawn of War style deployment. It's taken hold. You can't set up in the middle of the board. You can't move into the middle of the board with any pre-game moves. So things like, like your Dominion Rhino Rush type things. Invicta war suits.
What's the radius of the middle? 6?
No, it's no man's land. The entirety of no man's land. You can't deploy outside of your deployment zone. You can't move outside of it. So as a result of that, you will never see this played in any competitive tournament because they hate rules like that. Fine. And the mission secondary or the mission primary now is you score 2 victory points if you control, if you do one of these, if you control the objective marker in the center of the battlefield, and if you destroyed at least one enemy unit that was within 6 of the center of the battlefield at the start of their turn. And at the end of the battle, if you control the middle, you get 5 victory points. It's a nice mission. It's a nice mission secondary. I just think because of that no man's land rule, people won't want to play it because they go, well, I'm paying points for Incursors and Invicta Warsuits and Dominion Rhino Rushes and, you know, sort of these scout moves that I'm paying points for and I don't get to use them. But we'll see. I quite like it. Next one is Conversion. So this one is a sweep and clear style deployment. It's a take and hold. You only get your CP at the beginning of each battle round if your warlord is on the battlefield or in a transport. Fine. So if your warlord dies, you don't get your CP every turn. Cool. I like rules like that. Anything to kind of make you think about the positioning of units or where they start, or to just reduce the amount of stratagems exist.
They start with the command points.
Just do it Sigmar style.
Please!
You get like 0 and then you get like 1 a turn. That's it. That'd be great. The mission objective is Corrupted Ground. So at the end of each player's turn, you score 4 victory points if you control the objective marker in your opponent's deployment zone. You score 2 victory points if you control 1 or more of the objectives in no man's land. But you lose a victory point if you do not control the objective marker in your own deployment zone, to a minimum of 0. You can never like lose victory points as a result of it. I like it. I actually really like that. It's a bit more to track, but I really like the concept of you losing victory points for not doing something. Because
quite
again,
unusual.
it makes you have to think about your army. Like you have to have something back, and you probably would anyway. You probably would anyway. But it means your opponent has some counterplay to try and like chip away at your lead by going and taking your objective. Because that's actually, it represents a 5-point swing. Because your opponent will get 4 victory points for controlling your objective, and you lose a victory point in your turn if you don't take it back.
It's quite an exciting mission, actually.
I like it.
When you get into it, it's cool. And I do like the extra bit that if you lose your commander, you lose your command point.
Yeah, which is nice.
Cool.
The Scouring.
They ruined it for you, Chef.
My sweet child.
They removed your weird deployment.
It's now a proper hammer and anvil style deployment.
Yeah, it wasn't used that much because a lot of armies just don't fit.
Yeah.
If you're doing like Orc buggy spam,
yeah, it was.
You can't fit them in.
I understand why, but I really liked it because it was such a weird mission. It's now taken hold rather than domination. You now get a full deployment zone. You still got 5 objectives in the middle, which is kind of cool. I like that. Because that really exemplifies you got to go and fight over them. The mission one is strategic scan. At the end of the battle, you score 3 victory points for each objective marker on the battlefield that has been scanned. You can only scan 1 a turn now. But it's otherwise the same as what it was. Anyone can do it. It completes at the start of your command at the start of your next command phase. You can't do it if there's any enemy units within range of the same objective. Fine. Tide of Conviction. I really like this one. I played this one.
This is a very different.
This is one of the only totally new ones. In terms of objective placement. Because the objective placement is hard to explain without showing you, so you'll probably see it pop up.
You're giving yourself a lot of extra work here, sir.
Because you're editing it.
Damn.
So in this one, you only receive your Battleforge CP if you control the objective marker in your own deployment zone. Again, I like these aspects of you needing to do stuff to get the strategic assets to help you do stuff. You have to think about the game. Great. Lovely. I like it. You were probably doing it anyway because it's an objective marker and it's a domination mission, so you need objective markers. There's 4 in the middle that are kind of weirdly staggered, and then Overrun is at the end of each player's first, second, third, and fourth turn, you score 2 victory points if you control at least 1 objective marker in your opponent's territory, so your opponent's half of the board. And at the end of the battle, you score 4 victory points for controlling the 1 in your opponent's zone, 2 victory points for each of the others in their board half, so to the maximum of 8. So you can make some last gasp at this, you can trickle away at it. I really like this mission. 4 objectives in the middle, but you still got 1 in your home zone, so you've got lots to sort of play with. It's a domination mission as well as giving you a good progress. I really like this mission in terms of what it encourages you to do, which is play quite aggressively, but also you still need to make sure that you're denying your opponent access to your part, especially in the late game. So
your objective's quite close to the edge of the deployment.
Oh, it's 3 inches away from the deployment zone. So this is a tightly packed mission. I really like it. The next one is Death and Zeal. The last one is Secure Missing Artifacts. This is one of the other ones that's been previewed on Warcom, so we won't talk about that. But Death and Zeal is the last of the new ones. Again, a sweep and clear style deployment. This is similar to the Data Scry-salvage. if an OPSEC unit controls an objective in your command phase, you can walk away from it. Otherwise, you have to hold it as normal. And it's direct assault. But direct assault has now changed drastically. Instead, you score 2 victory points if you score one of the following 2 conditions, or 3 victory points if you do both of these conditions at the end of each of your turns. If you control every objective on the battlefield, or at least one objective that you did not control at the start of your turn, you get a tick, so that'll give you 2 victory points.
Tick.
And you destroyed at least one enemy unit that was in range of an objective marker at the start of your turn. That's another tick. So that could get you 2 victory points, or 3 if you do both. Again, I really like that mission. It encourages you to go out, fight over objectives, go and take objectives without just going, I sit on the middle and I score 3 victory points.
Yes.
So it's a change to the old direct assault. The missions are a good change.
Yes!
I like the mission changes. They are a bit more impactful than the secondaries.
I think they're more exciting to play as well.
A bit more dynamic.
I think they'll offer some very different outcomes to games that we've seen previously. I think that some of them will also encourage you to go on further than you might have done previously.
Yeah, there's a lot of end of battle sort of scoring in there, which is good.
And they're less obvious to win, in my opinion, as well.
Because of the reduction to the... You can still max out your primary by just sitting on objectives. That is still an option. All of the primary objectives, like the mission objectives, are there to help you facilitate you maxing out your primary, but they are not essential to do so. What it does mean is that you need to be holding like multiple objectives every turn of the game. Yeah. Which makes it a lot more that you can't just go, I've capped it out after 3 turns, great, I can now go off and do some weird janky stuff. Yeah. You've got to actually play till like turn 5 if you're only going to play the objectives, which I like. There's a bit more of an encouragement on going out, meeting your opponent, engaging in battle, rather than I'll sit back, I'll hide, I'll do an engage, I'll do a rod, and I'll do a stranglehold, or whatever it might be. So yeah, I like the changes. They encourage a bit more dynamic play. They are they feel more significant than the secondaries. Yes. Good changes there. Now let's talk about the second part of this. But oh yeah, because again, I don't want to do the rant too early. That's the end of the book. You don't get your core rules in here anymore. So we'll get back to that in a moment. But first, we'll do some points. Right, let's talk points. Yes. It's not a lot. No. It's not a lot. There's about 100 points changes across the many hundreds of units in the game. Good. So we'll rattle through these. There's a few significant ones. There's a few kind of like, okay. So we'll start with the Spethmarines.
Ah, the Adeptus Astartes.
Your chaplain on bike went up 10 points.
Makes sense.
Fine. Yes. He was pretty good. He was pretty ubiquitous. Your storm speeders, all 3 variants. The Primaris speeders went down 10 points. Cool. You might see them. Probably won't.
That's a double, because they were reduced last time as well, I think.
I think so, yeah. It's because they're not being used. Yeah. It's an issue with vehicles in 9th edition at the moment. Redemptors went up 10 points. Makes sense. Because they were everywhere. Your Devastator Centurions went down like 15 points.
Who knew?
I mean, okay, fine.
Who knew?
And all of your Primaris Gladiators, so the Valiant, the Reaper, and the Lancer, all went down 15 points.
Yeah. It's not a lot.
That's it.
Really.
That's it. Those are your breaks, Marines players, unfortunately. Blood Angels. Yeah, both your death companies went down 2 points.
Hey!
That's it. Dark Angels. Your planes went down 15 points.
Hey! Which you'll see in a few of the factions, actually.
Yeah.
General plane reduction.
Few plane reductions. And your Black Knights went down 5 points.
Yes, your Corvus Hammers, which you always took, are now free.
Effectively, yeah. So they were 40 points and then 5 points for the hammers. They're now 35 points and it's still 5 for the hammers. Yeah, fine. Okay, it's nice. Wolfen for the... Oh, sorry. When I say Wolfen, I mean Space Wolves. But Wolfen are the big change here. They went down 2 points. The Axe went down 3 points. The Thunderhammer went down 6 points.
Oh, woo.
Is it enough? I don't know. Is it cool? Sure.
Oh yeah, we love Wolfen.
Yeah, and the Thunderwolves went down by 5 points as well. Yeah. So your Wolfy Wolf stuff went down 5 points.
Yeah, that's an aesthetic gripe I won't get into right now.
What? Oh, the Wolfy Wolf boys. So someone said this on the narrative because I said that Space Wolves aren't cool. They're not. 40k Space Wolves are not cool.
No, 30k.
30k Space Wolves, which are actual Vikings, not people with like a wolf obsession.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Deathwatch, your Black Star went down 15 points.
Yes.
That is your lot for Space Marines. I mean, because we'll be coming to the Forge World stuff in a separate bit, but that is it.
Yes.
Grey Knights.
Ah, the Greyest Knights.
Your both variants of Dread Knights, Grandmaster and normal, went up 10 points on the base cost.
Makes sense.
And you already are a bit more limited because you can't take 5 of them now.
Yeah.
So
which is a good thing. Trust us.
Your Terminators went down 2 points, as did your Paladins.
Yeah.
Fine. And your Interceptors went up 2 points. Fine. I would have liked to have seen Strike Marines go up a point, just to kind of close the gap between them and the Terminators. I still think the Strike Marines are a little bit undercosted.
Yeah.
But fine. The Adepta Sororitas.
Ah, yes.
She went up 15 points. I mean, you should have seen that coming.
Yes.
Sacrosancts went up 2 points.
Probably makes sense again.
Dominions went up 2 points. Fine. Warsuits went down 10 points.
Yay! I think that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. I don't know whether you're still gonna. I don't know whether you're gonna see them.
No, I think there's some issues with their base rules that are the glaring issue.
Their base rules are perfectly fine. The problem is everything else is just more cost efficient. Will this do make a difference? I don't know. Realistically, if they were at 210, which is what they are now for the unit, before multi-melters, and you gave them a 5-up invuln, I think they'd be spot on.
It's the invulnerable save.
6-up invuln, like -1 damage, 2-up save, 4 wounds, toughness 5, that's great.
Yeah.
You need a 5-up invuln,
yes,
unfortunately. And your Cascator, your Exorcist, and your Immolators all drop by 10 points.
Well.
Wellity. That's nice.
That's not the worst thing.
Yeah, so again, it's one of those things of, and this is sort of similar with the Space Marines, because I kind of touched upon it with the Grey Knights. Are the points changes enough? No, because they're points changes on stuff that no one was running and points increases on things that everyone was running. That's how points changes work, guys. Unfortunately, that is the metric that Games Workshop have to use.
Yeah.
No one's running these things, reduce the points.
Yeah.
Everyone's running these things, increase the points. It doesn't fix fundamental issues. It's a quick change, but it's not necessarily the best change.
You can't spell fundamental without mental.
Or fun, I guess.
Or fun.
But sometimes it's not fun, so I don't know. With regards to the sisters, if you're running like a balanced list, or you're going like, oh, I'm going to take an Exorcist because that's cool, you're
don't
fine.
have any
If you were running 30 Sacrosancts and more than Val, then
all of a sudden you've got a problem.
Yeah, you got to refit, and 3 units of Dominions. Then, well, obviously, like again, it's that kind of thing of if you weren't expecting a points bump,
yeah,
that's on you. Right, Adeptus Custodes.
Yeah.
So already you've got points reductions.
The book was out last week, Chef. It was out last week.
Everyone gets a free Misericordia. I don't have a problem with that because it's fluffy.
They're modelled with them.
Yeah.
So it does.
Yeah.
It
I think
does
Stick, because I asked Stick, because he's the Custodes aficionado and the sort of the lore buff. He said every single one of them has a Misericordia.
Yeah.
On the kit, they're optional to put on, which is why they've done it. But now they're free because fluff-wise, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All of your shield captains, including Trajan and Valerian, going down 10 points, and your Alarus and your Virtus Praetors going down 5 points, doesn't make sense.
Completely unnecessary.
They were already good.
Yeah. The Alarus Terminators at 60 points.
They're wildly good.
And we were saying in the, for anyone that watched the Custodes unit breakdown, which is available on demand, we mentioned that at 65 points, they're teetering on being slightly unreasonable. So at 60 points.
And a free strength
plus
5 minus 2 attack.
Misericordia as well.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I am not confident that that is good for the game.
No.
I'm sure Custodes players are rubbing their hands in glee, which is cool, more power to you. Will that make a big difference in the meta? I don't know. I think for the casual player, that's no bueno.
Yeah.
For the competitive scene, things remain to be seen. The beauty of points changes, I suppose, is that they're easy to rectify because that can just be FAQ'd out or that can just be changed in the next pack. Again, incoming rant. I don't like that change now because it's so close to the Codex release. I would have rather have them sat for 6 months and then go, okay, no one's running them, let's have a look.
Let the community run Custodes in tournaments and then see how they perform, because that's what they normally do. They have meta watch and things like that on. This
is the first time, at least in my memory, where they've released a codex and then immediately dropped the point. And here's the really weird thing, because obviously this is how printing works, guys. This was probably ready like 6 months ago. It's been in a warehouse or it's been in a shipping container or whatever, because that's how printing works. Again, we'll come to that in the rant. So this was done based on what? A whim?
Yeah.
It just feels kind of odd.
It is.
The free
it is
Miseria
strange.
Cordial, I don't mind. The points drop, I think, is maybe a bit much, especially on Trajan. He's already an auto take.
So good.
Because what this means is that effectively you're and again it's contextual, because in the context of a Custodes army, that's probably going to equate to one extra Terminator,
Sure.
realistically, or one extra bike. But at the same time, they're Custodes.
Yeah.
Like, every model is incredibly good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd love to be wrong, and actually this is like the sweet spot, but part of me is a bit. I'm a bit wary.
Yeah.
Assassins stayed the same. Astra Militarum, you got like 3 points changes. Your Death Strike went down 30 points, your Manticore went up 10 points, and your basic Claim and Rust battle tank, so not your tank commander, went down 10 points.
Yeah.
Fine.
There's now a very large gap between tank commanders and Lehman Russ.
It's the BS3.
Yeah.
And the double shoot. I mean, Guard are like Chaos Space Marines. They have so many other issues other than points.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what was done.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure someone will be like, oh no, because if you'd have given us 4-point guardsmen, it would have been great. No, it wouldn't. It would not be good for the game. And 4 points just for a guardsman just seems pretty ludicrous. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how I feel about those points changes, because the Manticore was everywhere, so a points increase, understandable. Yeah. The Death Strike you're still never going to see. No. And the normal battle tanks, fine. Like, it's kind of, they almost may as well have not bothered, in a way. Adeptus Mechanicus, you saw that in the Balanced Data Sleep. There are no changes here. Unsurprising.
Done.
Imperial Knights, no changes. Inquisition, no changes. Chaos Space Marines. Shall I tell them the good news? There's a little box text at the bottom which says, any data sheet with an asterisk next to its name, you add one to the wounds characteristic of models in this unit. Unfortunately, none of them have an asterisk next to them.
You're very cruel.
I know. It's actually just a little post-it note that I put in there myself.
Yeah, I had a collective gasp across the galaxy of all the Chaos Space Marine players. Is it now? To be fair though, an extra room wouldn't fix anything.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I know people say that it does, but it doesn't. Like, you're not seeing tactical Marines.
No.
Their issues are intrinsically worse than just an extra wound and points. What you did get is 2 point cheaper Chaos Space Marines. Are you going to run them at 12 points?
No.
No, so it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Warp Talon's got a 3 point drop, Obliterator's got a 10 point drop, and Lord of Skull's got a 15 point increase.
I mean,
whatever.
I do like Warp Talons, I do like Obliterators.
Yeah.
But it's neither here nor there.
Again,
really,
these are not fixing fundamental...
Give me my codex, please!
These are not fixing fundamental issues of the codex. Now, here's another issue. Right. You're okay there?
No.
Do you need a moment?
No, I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just bottling up the rage for future.
Do you want to unleash it now for the Death Guard players out there?
Oh dear,
Okay.
oh dear.
So you want to talk about not fixing fundamental issues of codexes. Poxwalker's got a point increase. Blight Lords went up 2 points. Death Shrouds went up 5 points. The Blightspawn went up 15 points. You did get a 10 point drop on your Blight Haulers, and your Plague Burst Crawlers went down like 15 points.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah. Plague Marines are the same. So
Why do?
Why do?
Why do?
Why do?
Why do?
Why do? Yeah, okay. The Blightspawn I understand.
Yeah.
The Terminators going up 2 points when all of the equivalent special Terminators like Thousand Suns Terminators or Grey Knight Terminators being 40 is a bit weird. Yeah. Not sure how I feel about that. 55 points on the Death Shroud.
Oof.
I mean,
Oof.
I'll take an Allarus for 5 points more then, I guess.
5 points more for an Allarus. 5 points. Good grief.
Are they comparable? Look, I think they are, but I don't know if 55 is right. Especially not, because the issue was Plague Marines just aren't being seen because the Terminators are just better, right? Yeah. And Poxwalkers are better. They've now all received a points increase. I don't know, Thousand Suns get away like bandits with no changes, whilst Death Guard get...
Would you have liked to have seen a reduction for Plague Marines?
I think 20 points. I think 20 points. And I would couple that with the Poxwalker increase. I think Poxwalkers at 5 points was too cheap. I would like to have seen Plague Marines get a points drop. I'm not, not like 2-3 points like some people are saying. Yeah. But I think they didn't need... I don't think Death Guard needed the changes as such. Again, it's just points changes. It's annoying if that's how your army build was. Yeah. But they can be rectified by Games Workshop if they go, actually, look, it's been too impactful. Pull it back. Yeah, so that's fine. As I say, Thousand Suns get away like bandits. Demons, Be'lakor went up 20 points, unsurprising. Lord of Change went up 10 points, unsurprising.
What about Sloppy Ballpiper?
I think he's
the same.
No, I think he's the same.
Okay,
what a shame. The Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage went down 10 points, so he's in line with all the other Bloodthirsters now. Nurglings went up 3 points because Flamers went down 3 points, Fleshhounds went down 2 points, Seekers went down 2 points, and the Soul Grinder went down 15 points. These are all things that you're still probably not going to see, apart from maybe Flamers.
Yeah.
Maybe Flamers.
Yeah. Quite a lot of changes for Chaos Demons compared to other factions.
Yeah, you've got some big ones in Orks and Necrons, which we'll get to in a minute. Good. Chaos Knights. No changes there. Craftworlds. Fire Dragons went down 2 points. Okay. Wraithblades, Wraithguard went down 2 points. Okay. Hemlock went down 20 points.
Damn, that's a big drop.
That is a big drop. And the support weapons went up 5 points.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Guys, we know there's a codex coming.
Yes, they're previewing it right now on Warcom. I believe today is Monday. And I think they've already said this morning they're going to do another reveal today.
Cool, because they've shown the Guardians. They've shown
birthday present for you.
Thanks. They've shown the box set, so we know that this is all run up to the Codex. When that Codex comes out, like if this Codex isn't out for a while, fine. But I mean, one, this isn't doing much. We know the Codex is coming, so again, may as well have not bothered. Especially because they didn't give him a secondary, so they can't be that far away.
No,
it's really weird.
Well, it must be really soon.
Must be.
Very strange.
Drukhari, no changes. There's a shock. Anyone that thought that the points changes for Fix City and the Covens were going to be rolled back in this book doesn't know how printing works. Again, this was done like 5-6 months ago. So will there be a day one FAQ? I don't know. I doubt it. Harlequins, Ynnari, no changes. Necron!
Ah, the Crons of Nick.
Pretty much every points change that Necrons received is a points drop.
Yeah.
Is it on the right things? Not really. All your characters are still inordinately expensive. Flayed ones... Except Sazerac himself. The Silent King, he went down 30 points. Okay. Flayed ones went down 3 points. Scorpex went down 5 points. Ophidians went down 5 points. The Lockhurst, both versions, heavy and normal, went down 5 points. The Doom Stalker went down 10 points. The Doomsday Ark went down 10 points. The Doom Scythe went down 20 points. The Night Scythe went down 15 points. The Monolith went down 30 points. The Obelisk went down 40 points. The Vault went down 50 points.
50 points?
These are savings
on
things that you still aren't going to take. Apart from maybe the Destroyer Cult. Like the Destroyer stuff getting core and a points drop. That's actually quite cheeky.
Very interesting.
But your warriors are the same, your Lich Guard are the same, your Immortals are the same, your characters are the same. Yeah. Like you're paying like nearly 200 points for a barge. Look, again, similar to Chaos Marines, their issues aren't necessarily going to be resolved by just points changes. I'm not saying, oh, they need a brand new codex, but I'm hoping that the balanced data slate is as kind to them as it was with the core. The core keyword was great on all the stuff that got core. They still need a little bit more of a tweak. They're nearly there, in my opinion. They're very nearly there. But they do need a bit more love. Orks Commandos went up 2 points.
Damn it.
Fine. Your Beast Boss on Squigosaur went up 30 points.
That's a lot.
It's understandable though. He was very good. Mozrog, the special character, went up 15 points. Meganobs though, it went down 5 points.
Very happy about that.
Yeah, you like your Meganob.
You like a Meganob. Thank you very much.
Meganobs.
Thank you.
The Megatrack Scrapjack went up 10 points. The Squig Buggies went up 20 points.
Whoa.
What a big old jump. Coupled with the restrictions that the Buggies have gotten now, that's a big old change.
Big change.
Big old change. All your battle wagons, all 3 of them went down 15 points though.
I do enjoy.
I like a battle wagon.
Meganobs full of battle wagons, meta.
Oh, Meganobs full of battle wagons.
Yep.
Just open up the tin armor, a battle wagon jumps out.
It's like Iron Glob opens up.
I've been trying to shift that for ages. Yeah. Killer Cans went down 5 points. The Flash Gits and Looters went down 2 points.
Cool for Looters are pretty good.
Mech Guns went down 5 points, but you now pay 5 points for the custom Mega Cannon.
Mech Guns are terrible.
Mega guns are okay. They're okay. The custom mega cannon is now the same, which is fine because it was already the best choice. All the others have gone down 5 points, fine. The kill rig went up 20 points because he was great. These are all fine changes.
Yeah.
No changes to like boys.
Yeah, that's weird.
Would I have liked to have seen, like someone I read the other day was saying like, oh, 7-point boys would be great. You're never going to get 7-point toughness 5 boys.
8?
8 maybe. I'd be okay with 8. At the moment, they're still 9. We'll see how that settles. Tau have received no points changes because...
I wonder why.
It's literally it's new codex points in there.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of numbers in there that will mean nothing to you for however long that might be. So there's no point talking about them because their points changes to a bunch of stuff which is all going to be different anyway, so it's completely irrelevant to talk about. Tyranids!
Yes.
The Horospecs.
Yes.
Their big gribbly Cthulhu monster mouth. He went down 15 points.
Wow.
Fine. Exocrine went down 15 points. The Tyrannofex went down 15 points. Hiveguard went up 5 points.
Good. Stupid Hiveguard.
Raveners. I reckon this is a typo. They have remained 20 points, but all their weapons are now free. Not sure how that sits with NID players. I don't know Raveners very well. They're basically snake warriors, which is pretty cool. So if that is intended, that's pretty cool because that's like an 8 to 9 point saving per model.
It's significant.
And that could be, quite a useful alternative for like, Engage or Stranglehold, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Genestealer Cults receive no points changes. Oh, where's my 5-point cheaper stuff that Custodes got for my brand new codex?
You don't get those things.
That's a shame. Forge World.
Ah, the world of Forge.
Guess what, everyone? Your Volkite Contemptors went up 10 points per gun.
Lol.
There's a shock. If you didn't think it was going to happen,
they were kind of everywhere.
it was everywhere. The Astraeus went down 75 points. That's the Primaris Super Heavy.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a lot of them anyway because they are enormous and super expensive.
Yeah, the reason why no one's using them...
Money-wise,
yeah,
currency.
The reason why people aren't using them isn't because it was 675 points. It's because it was like 675 quid.
Yeah.
Or however much it is. I think it's like a couple of hundred or something. It's a lot. Custodes got some points drops. The Aquilin Terminators went down 5 points. They're still 10 points more expensive than the Alarus Custodes.
But they're at 70 now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think the Alaros are better.
I think so too.
They do get the free, everything gets the free Misericordia, apart from the Sagittarum, they do still have to pay for them. That's a bit weird. I would have rather they'd have just increased the points of the Sagittarum to like 55 and given them the Misericordia for free, because again, fluff-wise, they all carry one.
Yeah.
But fine.
Yeah.
The Telemon went down 20 points. Fine, it's not core anymore. It doesn't benefit from certain stratagems anymore.
Yeah.
The Coronas Grav Carrier went down 30 points. You're still probably not going to use it. And both of the Flyers went down 50 points. Fine. Okay. Forge World Knights. This applies for both Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights. The Megaras went up 20 points.
Makes sense.
And on the Moiraxes, both the Lightning Locks and the Volkite Vigilers went up 5 points for a gun, so you got to pay points for them now. So basically, your standard Lightning Lock loadout went up 10 points, and your Megaras went up 20 points. So if you were running a bunch of them, you've now basically got to take one less Warglaive.
Yes.
Could be pretty significant.
Maybe.
Drukhari. They got points drops. Lol.
Okay.
I know that's going to be taken out of context as well. I really want that to be taken out of context where I just go, yeah, Drukhari got points drops and just not tell you what they are. The Reaper went down 10 points. The Tantalus went down 30. Fine. Still probably not usable in comparison to what else they have. Orks got some points drops. The Cannon Wagon went down 20 points. The Squigoth went down 20 points.
Yes!
The Gargantuan Squigoth went down 50 points.
Woo!
And the Custom Stomper went down 50 points. And then finally, Tyranids, the Demiracon went up 25.
Yeah.
Those are literally every single points change in the book.
I can hear it, I can feel it coming. Here it comes.
It's rant time, baby. Okay. We were sent these by Games Workshop.
Yes.
For free. We don't know how much these will cost.
No, not at the moment. At the time of filming, these have not been released.
It's very small.
They are very small.
Depending on how much they charge, will be a deal breaker for this.
Yeah.
Because the problem with this is it sets a precedent. Because this is going to happen twice a year.
Yeah.
I would advocate that you talk amongst your friends in your friendly local gaming store and you do a syndicate.
Yeah.
I would not buy those personally.
No. I think especially for the points increases, why this hasn't just been released as a PDF, I don't understand.
Here's the really annoying thing about it is we know they're not adverse to doing that. Yeah. If you're a Drukhari player, you don't need to have the points manual. You got your points changes.
Yeah.
For good or for ill.
Yeah.
Why they can't do the points changes, at the very least the points changes for free.
Yeah.
The missions, again, it could just be free. It could just be a PDF.
They're giving away the secondaries as
secondaries are
cards in White Dwarf this month, as far as we can tell.
It just seems really. Look, there seems to be a massive disconnect within Games Workshop. Whoever decided, because here's the thing, guys, this is not the rules team decision. I'm going to throw that out there now.
Yeah.
This is not their decision. This is not the Warcom decision. This is not the intern running the Facebook pages decision or the Instagram accounts. Don't yell at them. Don't spam the customer service guys who are always incredible.
They're very good.
Don't spam them with, this is rubbish. This is not their fault. But someone in Games Workshop decided that this was a good idea, and depending on how much they sell it for, is going to be a massive, massive deal breaker.
Yep.
Because, look, in my opinion, if they charge more than 10 quid for this,
bit of a shocker.
That'd be shocking.
Yeah, especially compared to the last version.
But you don't get the core rules anymore. You can't. You now need to lug around your old version of the rules or your digital version on the app, which is the app.
Yeah.
You know, it feels. The amount of money that they would make from this is clear, like from a business point of view, is clearly the numbers make sense.
Yeah.
But they really shouldn't, because if this is going to happen twice a year, for realistically minimal changes, again, this is the thing. From a rules team perspective, they had to have had these written 5-6 months ago, because that's how long printing and shipping and logistics take when it comes to like printed medium. So we know that they can update the rules fairly quickly, right? The general public at large does not get them until it's almost 6 months too late.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing. Points changes for the Death Guard, that would have been really relevant 8 months ago.
Yeah. It's all too late. And then if you look at the example of the Adeptus Custodes that came out last week. And now they have different points already. It's just crazy. This feels like the sort of thing that would be a perfect addition to the app.
Yep.
So as part of your subscription, you get 6 monthly updates to your points and your rules and
new
your secondary
missions
missions.
Added to them.
Because then there's revenue coming from it.
Yep.
But printing this on not very much paper, no one's excited about this. No one's been like, oh, I can't wait for Chapter Approved to come out.
No. It almost feels like it's just kind of, it's there now.
Yeah.
Like this is our life now.
Yeah.
This is the way that 40k is. And here's, look, okay, I'm probably gonna annoy a few people by saying this. This is a result of wanting the game to be competitive.
Sure.
This is a result of wanting constant updates, which is not a bad thing. No. However, balanced data slate. They've already said that they're going to do that quarterly. It's going to be free. Include the points in that.
Yeah.
Do the points every 6 months for free. The amount of goodwill that you would get would be far greater than the money that would be made from selling this book. Sure, I mean, again, I don't know the numbers, so clearly someone has done the numbers. There's teams that are far more intelligent than me and with business degrees that have clearly gone, this is a good and sound business decision. This will make us a profit because we are a business at the end of the day and that is what we want. Yeah. I am just one guy ranting against the idea because realistically, if I had to buy that, I would be really annoyed that I couldn't then spend 20-25 quid on new cool models coming out.
Exactly. And the other irritating thing is that with the Militarum field manual, for most people, 1 or 2 pages of this book are going to be relevant
It's
to you.
completely pointless for some of it.
I mean, unless you're us here with all of the armies, like this is quite useful for us because we need to check all the points for everything. But if you're a Thousand Suns player, or if you're a Space Marine player,
only one half of this book is useful for you.
Or you have one faction that you use, like why are you having to spend money on this?
It's just
bonkers.
It seems really, and we've harped on about this before. It is time for digital.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, if the game is going to be updated at the pace that it is, and I agree with the update of the pace. Like, this is the thing. If people want competitive gaming in 40K, more power to you. I enjoy 40K for its many nuances and its many ways of playing the game, and I will never tell anyone that the way that they play the game is wrong. However, if you are going to play competitive games, you need to deal with constant updates. Esports, Magic the Gathering, League of Legends, these are all millions times bigger than 40K.
Yeah.
And they do constant updates. They don't charge you for it.
Yeah, and you don't have to, they're not done 6 months after they need to be done.
It's really upsetting because there's a lot of good like content in here in terms of the missions and the improvements to the game.
Yeah, this isn't a bad thing. This in itself isn't bad. It's not bad. Like you get new missions, there's new ways to play the game. It's
which
good.
is great.
But the fact that you have to pay for it just doesn't quite sit right with me.
Yeah,
and I think like for the most part, like us as an organisation are profoundly positive when it comes to Games Workshop and the things that they release. For the most part, we don't often go off on one about things that come out, but this isn't great.
It just leaves a bit of a sour taste in the mouth.
Yeah.
And again, like, you know, I'll preface it. You know, again, I said it at the beginning. We got sent this for free by Games Workshop. You know, and some people are like, "You're a corporate shill." No. Okay, I'm going to go off on a rant on that.
Oh, here we go.
But I hate it when people say that because, you know, it's like, oh, but you're told your Games Workshop own you. It's like, well, okay, one, they don't. I just really enjoy stuff. Like, you know, we did the review on the Adeptus Custodes book, and some people were saying like, oh, yeah, you don't realize that they've completely broken the game. It's like, no, I just personally really enjoyed that book. I enjoy new things. I've already played one of these missions and they're great fun.
Well, I say it was good too.
It's totally different. It's great. The issue comes from, we get sent stuff to review. We review stuff honestly. The codexes get me excited. Some of the other stuff doesn't, so I don't get as excited about it. I'm enjoying the missions, but I don't like the fact that if I was not being sent it for free, I'd have to pay for it.
Yeah. We can't in good conscience recommend this.
I mean,
like to a single consumer, like as like a larger gaming group, cool. Like you can share the points between
share amongst your friends. Buy it for your. The issue will become like how tournaments, like if you know, and this is again from a competitive standpoint, if you're going to a tournament and they say you must bring this book. Yeah, bummer.
If nothing else, this is the example, and this is the time for digital rules. Like this is a problem.
Yeah, because if that's going to happen twice a year, like again, if it's like £10, which again, unfortunately for Australian viewers, does mean it would cost about 472 Australian dollars. It's just, I could kind of get over it. Like I could kind of get over it, but then it's like, okay, it's £10 twice a year. All right, well that's about what the chapter approved was anyway. But if you just gave it to me for free, or I paid my $1.99 a month on my app for it. You're still getting money from me, Games Workshop. But I'm more inclined to spend money on more models.
I would rather see the points drop for a particular unit and buy a box of that unit instead. That would make me happy. That would be nice. And Games Workshop, in all of the investor meets and things like that, always have the tagline, "We make the best miniatures on the planet." So let me buy the miniatures rather than this.
I want to spend money on the miniatures rather than on
two pages of a book. 2 pages. 2.
It's crazy. So again, I will reiterate, this is not the rules team's fault. No. Like they work within the confines of logistics, and stuff needs to be shipped and things need to be sold at certain times because that's how businesses work. You know, they have clearly made this from a business decision. So to reiterate, this is not the rules team's fault. Do not spam the 40K FAQ inbox and say, here's a question, why do I have to pay money for the rules? Because one, it's just going to go into the spam folder, and two, it's not their fault. Don't start spamming the Facebook page about like, meh, meh, meh. It's not the intern's fault. Don't start ringing the customer service or sending them emails. I hate the phrase, you know, vote with your wallet. But yeah, I'm with you. I can't in good conscience say, buy this book for yourself. I can say, you know, in your gaming group, buy it because you are going to need it to play the new games. You are going to need it if you go to tournaments. I understand the trepidation about not going towards digital rule sets because people will just share it for free. So just make it free, and then you don't have to worry about it. And then you can carry on making the codexes.
Yeah.
You can carry on making the you know, what is it we were on at the moment? Warzone Caradron or whatever it is. People will buy those. They'll buy them for the artwork or the narrative or the pretty pictures. But some people just want to play the rules. They just want to play the game. But in order to play the game, they need the models.
Yeah.
So if they're having to spend part of their hobby budget on rules to play said game, they're spending less money on models, which means they tend to just go meh, and they start dropping away. I want this. If anything, I want this. I'm really hoping this is actually some wild experiment that Games Workshop have done, and they've gone, let's do it and see what happens. Yeah. And then they get like, you know, no one's buying it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not do this anymore.
I hope so.
My fingers are very tentatively crossed.
Yeah.
In conclusion, the missions are good. Points, meh. There's some. I am excited to play the missions. The missions are really nice and dynamic, and they do offer up new sort of thinking processes that you have to do for playing your games, which is only a good thing.
Yes.
So that's a thumbs up from me.
Yes. And anyone that's an on-demand subscriber on tabletoptactics.tv will see these 6 missions over the next few weeks.
9 missions?
9 missions.
9 missions.
Over the next few weeks.
9 new missions and a whole selection of new secondaries and stuff to do. So that is a bit of a longer one today, but had to get the rant out there. It's been a while.
Been a while.
As well as obviously there's a fair bit to talk about in terms of like the crunchiness, because there's not many changes, but they all are relatively fundamental to the game as a whole.
Yes.
So that has been it from us today. Thank you for sticking us out. I have been Chef. He has been Beard. We have been Tabletop Tactics. You have been Bosses. We'll see you next time.
Bye.